welcome to another edition of Just Unsecure Cybersecurity series, where we explore key topics in information and cybersecurity, focusing on Africa and the world. As usual, I'm Babz and co-host OO. We continue our series for this month where we focus on African women in cybersecurity, their success stories and opportunities. But before I go ahead, as usual, don't forget to what?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. In this series, we introduce a dedicated advocate in the field of information security with a focus on governance, risk, and compliance. Meet Felicia A. Omoediale Samuel, an MSc CRISC, a distinguished cybersecurity and AI GRC
Yes.
professional, doctorate researcher, board advisor, and industry speaker. That's why she's here today.
Yes.
With a wealth of this experience in GRC, Felicia is deeply passionate about mentoring, coaching, and driving strategic security initiatives. Don't let me say everything about her. I beg. Let's just bring her in and let Felicia do the honors to cement our introduction.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Hi,
Thank you for
Felicia.
having me. Thank you. Thank you for
well,
having me.
thanks for
Babs, the
coming
way
on
you
our series.
described me, I was wondering if I was the one you were describing, but yeah, that's true.
That means I did a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. You're a
Qualified as an
researcher
MC.
yourself. He's a researcher himself.
You know when they say a doctor, a researcher, you need to go and do your homework because it's not easy to be a GRC, a cybersecurity AI person. No, in
and
doctorate,
a
no.
and a PhD in the making. Doctorate.
Well,
Exactly.
Come on. That is a lot.
I'm so grateful for for being invited here. I'm very passionate about this, and I think you guys are doing a lot of good stuff. Which, I mean, anything that we in the industry can do to support the cause, happy to do that, and I'm happy to be here. Really happy to
Thank
be
you
here.
very much.
We're
Thank
really happy
you.
to have you. And by the way, they always say it in part of our culture that you don't you don't bob the head behind the person that have the head. So Babs probably have done a little bit of introduction, but would like to hear from you yourself because nobody can better introduce you like yourself, please. And our
Yeah.
audience would like to know, let's hear from her.
Thank you so much. So I'm Felicia Omoediale Samuel. Like Babs described, I'm a cybersecurity professional. I specialize in risk, governance, and compliance. I've been in technology for over, let's say, 20 years now. And I started my journey towards specialization in 2018 for cybersecurity. And as that journey grew, I expanded my portfolio to emerging technology. That is why you have the element of artificial intelligence in it. Currently, I've worked with many organizations, both the public sector and private sector in the United Kingdom. Very passionate about the African community, so I do a lot of community work, which is coaching, mentoring, especially for women who have been out of work for a very long time, and teenagers and young adults. So I have a very strong passion for that set of people. But apart from that, as you can see, I'm a very restless person. So I, even as I have a full-time job working in a very massive organization, I'm still very, very, very much in tune with research. And I think, yeah, I started my drive to develop my research abilities when I did my master's at Oxford University. So I have my master's is in software and system security from Oxford University, and that particular MSc was more around writing and submitting papers and assignments. So that actually gave me that introduction into research. And I said, you know what, I really like this space because when you go into somewhere or a topic that you don't know. And at the end of you submitting that paper or submitting that assignment, you find out that you've known a lot. So that kind of now instilled in me my desire to continue in the research space, to mix academia with the work environment. So with that, I actually sit on the board for Essex University on their master's and undergraduate course, especially around technology and cybersecurity. So I'm an industry representative, and what I do is I help the university shape their modules so that the people who are graduating from the university don't only have academic knowledge, they also have practical knowledge. So that is my job, yeah. And then in addition to the many hats that I wear, I'm very linked to a company called Cycom Integrated Solutions. Is owned by a classmate of mine in Oxford, very passionate also, and I'm serving as a non-academic, a non executive director on SciComm, and I'm helping them in their advisory, as an advisory role. I'm also helping to build the first kind of AI research space where we would have people who are working in the industry like me, who are not really academic in nature, to be able to deep in and do research, you know. So that's the current pet project that I am working on. So in
Wow.
terms of my doctorate, I am actually, why I keep saying don't address me yet, I'm actually going through the route, what they call the professional doctorate route, which is not a PhD, but is more like a PhD. The only difference is that my contribution for a PhD, your contribution is contribution to knowledge. But my own research would be a contribution to knowledge and a contribution to practice, which is where I have passion for. So the fact that we're able to use what we're seeing in the academic space and using it to better improve organizational procedures, policies, and stuff like that, right? Operational things in the organization. So my doctorate is going to be um, contributing to practice. So that's why it's called a professional doctorate, and I'm doing the doctorate in Anglo Ruskin University in Cambridge. So that's a little bit. And then one very important thing about myself is I'm a mother. I'm married to a handsome man, of course, and I've got two wonderful children. I've got a teenager and I've got a daughter who, so I've got my hands full. Thank you.
Oh no.
Wow. Well, you know, we are Nigeria. You always say twirly, 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 twirly. That's me.
I'm telling you, how I can't even imagine how to combine all of that. And when you have an husband as well, you have to take care of him, right? So
Yeah,
all of that encompassing.
yeah.
I don't know how you do it, so I just give it to you, just like Babs have said. Twale.
Thank you, thank you.
I think this leads to my follow up question because you have so many things that you're doing, but maybe we should take some steps, a few steps back. What
Mhm.
actually inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity? Because that first step is what women are looking at because
Yeah,
you're an inspiration to women out there. But it
yeah.
is what made you take that step? What should a woman out there be saying? Oh, this is something I can relate to.
I think I was fortunate enough to have this kind of internal instinct to know, identify where you have gaps, right? Just identify where you have gaps. Don't forget, I was in the tech industry for a long time. I even worked in Nigeria, where I come from, proudly Nigerian. Um, I worked in Celtel, V Mobile, which was the GSM provider back then. I think the company has now changed names or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bati
And
Airtel.
okay. I kind of became very curious about technology while I was working in Celtel. Believe it or not, I was working in the contact center where we were dealing with customers, but I was so interested in, helping customers, onboarding customers into applications, knowing what is going on in those applications and stuff like that. So prior to me coming into the United Kingdom where I currently live, I already had it in mind that I was going to, improve on what I had learned while working in Centel. The journey wasn't easy, and I think I need to
Mm.
kind of tell you where I'm coming from so that when I give the final answer, you probably say it. So coming into the UK far back as 2007, it was the peak of the recession in the UK at that time. So finding a job was really difficult. So I had to start from scratch. And I mean, people say the UK is no respecter of your degree. Even if I had a degree in mathematics, I couldn't really use it to get into a job, which is quite different from where we are coming from, where you have a degree, you can say you have a degree, then you can get a job. So I had to start from scratch, use what I had, got a job in the call center again here, and also with the interest in having my interest in technology and everything, opportunity came for us to test a new system, and I went into testing
Hmm.
and just started building, you know every step of the way. I just started building, set up some tasks for myself to build. But cyber was quite different. You know
Hmm.
what? When you are a science fiction fan, your brain just stays, very in tuned.
Hmm.
I watched a CIS, this American series,
Yeah,
CIS
yeah,
series,
yeah.
Yes.
where it had to do with something that was similar to, a computer being taken over and all those kind of things. And that kind of like intrigued me. I had no clue what cybersecurity was, nothing. So from that series, I just started finding out things. Then I was working in the civil service, just like doing the normal civil service job. Then I just started saying, okay, I think I should start improving myself in that space and put myself in that space. So I actually grew organically in that space, and then started getting information. And even without knowing about research, I'm very, very curious and started finding out things. Then I got into becoming a business analyst, worked as a business analyst for a very long time, and got into Sky, which was the company that I really got my breakthrough in. And going into that kind of big organization, you know that you have to put your best foot forward,
Hmm.
right? And I unapologetically African. I just feel that when I get into a place, I need to change the narrative. And I'm saying this because that is who I am. I needed to make myself different. And I noticed that almost everybody around me were generalists. When you're a technology, you're a generalist, you're not
Mm-hmm.
specializing in one thing or the other. And I had to make a decision to actually specialize.
Hmm.
And that's how the journey is. So I said, okay, if I was going to specialize, how do we learn best in Africa? Is by going to do a course now, isn't it?
Yeah,
We have both
exactly.
people. And that was how I went into going to do my master's in Oxford in software and system security. And God blessed, because Oxford, it wasn't, I didn't, if they had told me that I would end up there, I wouldn't believe. Even the friend that advised me, I thought she was mad. I said, what are you
Yeah,
talking
like
about?
Oxford.
Are you
Come
for
on.
real?
Who
From Unimen to
who
Oxford? Wow.
who,
You know?
who would refund me? Yeah.
Who would? And all those things. But you know what? It just worked out. And at the end, I was offered a scholarship, right? And
Yeah.
I was partly sponsored by GCHQ. They had this
Wow.
scholarship for people of ethnic minority and stuff like that. And I had to kind of write my proposals, make myself available. I was invited for the interview, and then the rest is history. So I would say it was my curiosity that took me into cyber. and I've not looked back. So, there are a lot of people that think, okay, cyber, oh, there's money there, we need to run into there and blah, blah, blah. That was not the case for me. My case was purely based on that it was something that I was passionate about. And
Hmm.
it was something that, I just grew into it. And I always prefer that you find your passion before you choose your career, because that's what will keep you. That's what will
Hmm.
keep
Wow.
So one question: what year did you go into the masters?
you. So I did the application in 2017. No, 2016, and started the masters in
That's me.
2017. And so it was part time. It was part
Yeah,
time.
because we're
So I
working
could,
in Sky. Yeah.
yeah, because I was working in Sky. It wasn't easy. I won't tell
I
you a
can
lie.
imagine.
It
Yeah.
wasn't easy. And I still am very grateful to the kind of family that I have. My husband is very, very understanding. You know, I think, that saying that they used to kind of put on for work. Behind every successful man, there's a successful woman, or there's a woman. And sorry, I'm a worry person, so I can,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Please.
I, I think in my case, behind every of my success, I think having the support of my husband was what actually helped. So if my advice out there is, if you are a lady and you want to kind of like grow here, you really need to pray for the support of, whoever that you are with. And then, because it's not a walk in the park,
Hmm.
right? It's not, yes.
Yeah, I like the expression that you said. Gradually you were moving from one area to the other, and that interest
Yes.
kept you on. And when the
Yes.
opportunity came, you weren't thinking twice. It's not
Mm-mm.
like even when you talked about GCHQ, it wasn't like they just said, yeah, because you're a minority, just take. Nah.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
There's no free lunch.
Exactly.
There's no free lunch. Even in the, even into getting into Oxford in the first place, it's not a walk in the park. You do
Yeah.
the application, you have to be selected, then you do the interview. On the day I was doing the interview, I was praying at the background because I didn't know. When you
Yeah.
have renowned professors interviewing you,
Yeah.
Wow.
and
And
I
then
want to say
your
another
background
thing.
wasn't called IT.
Oh,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah, and you took the word out of me, background. I think one of the things that we struggle with as African women is that our background,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Sometimes we just feel disenfranchised. We just have this fear, imposter syndrome. I'm
Hmm.
not good enough. I can't do
Hmm.
this. All those stories that we hear, right? And I think that was the biggest hurdle that I needed to cross, the hurdle of
Hmm.
self. And that is what I preach. You
Perfect.
need to cross the hurdle of self. You need to cross the hurdle of self. There's this stuff I always used to keep myself aligned. It's as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. And the concept of ease. Ease is present.
Hmm.
Ease is present. Ease today would be was, and it's
Yeah.
also to be. So you are stuck in the east, right? You're stuck in the east. And if your east is I can't do it, it will be your past and influence the future.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we just need to overcome that I can't.
Can't. Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Overcome that I can't. It's not like the challenges and the struggles were not there. It wasn't. Some of the stories I have to tell is how I had to do two jobs, how I had to have a catering company on one side. Do you understand? And how I
And
had
still
to,
study.
yeah, and how to make hair.
Hey.
Oh my.
but
Wow.
but you
Wow.
see, it pays off, and that's why I think in order not to overstress it, there's a saying where I come from, worry no they carry last. It means resilience. And that thing, it sticks with everybody that wants to use that adage properly,
Hmm.
right? And I mean, the rest will be history. I've not gotten to where I want to be, but I'm definitely not where I used to be. And I'm definitely not stopping at where I am right now. It's just the basic principles of life.
And for me, there are so many things I have to say because once I start saying, it might sound like we're ending the show, but no. But so I'll keep it for when we want to end the show. I'll just put a snippet. I mean, the story right now, and something that you said that is not where you want to be. But for me, I'm like the story alone. I'll be like, ah, you're okay now. Just stay where you are, but inspirational. Do you understand what I mean? That's inspirational right there. That yes, I've gone through this. I'm where I am, but this is not the goal. I still have where I'm going to. And for an African woman, I think that is commendable because people watching this are going to say, wow, this is a woman that has done it all and she's not satisfied. She still says there is more to be done. And
Yeah.
to me, like I said, I wanted to wait to the end, but me, it couldn't just wait. I just had to let it out. But I also want to use this to like come back to the topic because some women out there are looking again and saying, what kind cybersecurity? I hear cybersecurity, but they really don't know what are the opportunities out there, especially for
Hmm.
African women that they need to look into. They say, cybersecurity, which one is cybersecurity again? And I think from your perspective, especially from an educational perspective, you have more oversight into different spaces within information and cybersecurity general. If you could just
Mhm.
pinpoint areas that women could focus on, both technical and non-technical.
Yeah, I will start from the non-technical because when I talk in public, I say when you say cybersecurity, what comes to your mind? The first image that comes to your mind is the man with the hoodie that is on front of a computer. But that's just one side of it, right? There's the human side of cybersecurity that is not being tapped right now. Cyber advocacy,
Hmm.
right? It's not being tapped. And you don't even need, if you are a woman that is passionate about your children not being misled online or taken advantage of or something like that, you can start from there and read about how these exploits are being done. You see it all over the news, how people's information are being stolen, how children are being compromised online and stuff like that. So cyber advocacy, you know, being safe online is an element that you can even start on your own. There are a lot of people who want to, they are doing stuff online, social media, and stuff like that. You can pick a topic, read about it, and start talking about how schools can keep our children safe,
Hmm.
how children can be safe online. What are the things that you need to do? What are the cyber hygienes? And that is actually cyber awareness. It's one of the areas that are untapped in cyber. And you don't really need to be a code writer to be able to go in there.
Hmm.
If you are a woman and you can talk, either to your children or to your neighbors or you're already an evangelist in that space. The only thing that you need is domain knowledge, which you can get, you know, which you can get if you cut down the time you're spending on Instagram and just reading information. Do you understand? You still need to put in the work, but you can get that. Then there are other areas, like the area that I'm in, risk, governance, and compliance. Governance is
Hmm.
about managing cyber initiatives. Organizations would always want to manage their cyber initiatives, to
Yeah.
measure their cyber postures. The governance is just like a bedrock where you pick up framework. And once you can read, you pick up those frameworks, you understand what those frameworks are recommending, and bang, you're already on your way. to be able to provide that governance. What is governance? It's guidance, right? Don't do this, do this, and you put it in paperwork. Then compliance. So, for instance, there is no organization that is not under any regulations,
Hmm.
right? They would say you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. Who is interpreting the do's?
And
You see
don't.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And don'ts. And then, of course, if you don't do it, you are open to risk. Who is going to be advising you? So, you see how I've described it now. There
Mhm.
is no line of code. There's no line of code. So, yeah, I'm an advocate that you can read, understand what the cyber domain is all about, but there are other soft skills that you can use, right? You can use those soft skills to actually present yourself. I think there's a link that I'll probably share, which is like the 16 areas of
Hmm.
cybersecurity. It was recommended by a government organization. I will share that with you. Probably you can share it with across
Good.
board, maybe on the link. And you could see the different things that people can go in. Do you know that lawyers make very good cybersecurity specialists? Because they're taking
I
care
didn't
of
know that.
technology law. Yeah. Data
Hmm.
protection is all about regulations,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Data protection is all about regulation. I had a friend while I was doing my master's in Oxford, she was doing her PhD in employment law. And I was going to
Wow.
do a module that was talking about some kind of law. And come on, I'm a mathematician. One of the biggest problem I have is reading all those article 2, case 1. So I was struggling. So what I just did was to send her the different regulations that I needed interpretation for. It's not now that people are throwing things in ChatGPT and is spitting
Yeah.
out whatever it wants, right? And I sent it to her and I said, please, I need interpretation, like non-legal, all those jargon
Yeah.
interpretation. And we said that I can still remember us sitting down in the library and this lady breaking down these laws for me. She's not a technologist.
Hmm.
She was breaking down the laws that this is what they can do, this is what they cannot do. We finished, and I told her, let me mentor you because this thing you're doing is what data protection people do, is what privacy leads do. And they all work hand in hand. It's part of, data security is part of data protection. She thought it was a joke. We started working together in our local charity. She became the DPO of the local charity, helping them to comply to GDPR laws at that time. And I told her, because I'm a board member of that charity, just put it in there because you're doing work for us. Somebody, a headhunter, spotted her on LinkedIn. And that was how, before she even finished her doctorate, she became the data protection officer for an AI company at that time. So even as a student, she was earning money. Do you understand? They only had to prorata
Mm.
it because she had to do only
Yeah.
20 hours.
20 hours. Yeah.
20 hours.
So I'm always a
Yeah.
believer of what it is you have done before. I'll give you something that will make you laugh. If you have a shop and you are selling things, you are a salesperson, right? You
Hmm.
know how to buy and you know how to sell. You know how to tell people this cloth would last, this cloth would not last,
The
right?
last.
What now stops you for being a sales manager for a company that is selling cybersecurity products or tools?
Hmm.
The way you learned how to classify
Yeah.
your clothing
Yeah.
is the way you just need to learn what your tool is doing. Oh,
Hmm.
this
Doing. Yeah.
particular tool is very good for detection. Then you go and learn detection. Do you understand what I mean? So I've never written a line of code, never, but I'm in cyber. So I think we would need to put in more emphasis to our God given talent and then find where we can plug ourselves in.
That breaks the barrier for most people because some of the things that a lot of lady are thinking about is like, where do I start? Do I even have the right skill? Or do I even? So this really breaks it down. Like there are different areas that you can be involved in, and you can
Mhm.
start from here and move forward. Nobody
Yes.
came to the top of IT or cybersecurity in one day. So you
Nobody.
just have to put in, and I like the way you talked about it. You have to put in the work. Even as a lawyer, as a health professional, you probably have a space somewhere
Yes.
in
Yes.
cybersecurity.
Yes.
Thank you. That takes me to the next question. For some people who are, or some women, ladies that are listening to us, they're in a particular stage of their career at the moment. Maybe they are already in cyber or in IT. And they are thinking, now that the world is going to somewhere else, of course, you have gone to emerging technology. So, and like, if you look at the future, 10 years from now, maybe you are looking into your crystal ball, what should they be preparing for that will make them to have a seat on the table as women, as ladies in cybersecurity?
So the world is actually changing very, very fast. Very fast. And I would say we should be prepared for an economy or a country or a place or a world that is heavily digitized. A
Mm.
lot of manual human what are they calling it, efforts is going to be replaced by technology. And I'm not only talking about artificial intelligence now. I
Hmm,
mean, 10 years ago we were still kind of holding phones and talking. Well, 20 years ago people were queuing to make calls, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not even mobile phones. I mean, I
exactly.
remember the first time I saw Turaya, it was like as big as this, right? You
Yeah.
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
Well, they've gradually moved into what we have now. I mean, before 10 years ago or 20 years ago, what we're doing now, the three of us, wasn't necessarily possible. I
No.
would need to come into your studios and we would talk, right?
Yeah.
But look at
Yeah.
us now. In different parts of the world, I was shocked. Different parts of the world, and we're talking. So, what I'm saying is, digitalization is not going to stop. Digital transformation is still going to increase. And new technologies that are going to come in are going to fast track these things. Quantum, all these things are going to fast track it. Initially, last year, we were hearing that, okay, it's only weak AI. Before we get to the general purpose AI and the super AI, it will be time passed. But guess what? We are now seeing 250 billion being input,
Mm.
being pumped into this technology, 50 billion, and AI dominance is coming into play. And when there is money, there
Hmm.
would be
There's motivation.
innovation,
Yeah.
right? And there's drive. So what I would say is in 10 years time, we are going to have more and more of our daily processes be in the digital space. So this is a time for us to fold our sleeves up, right? And if you really want to be in this space, and if you really want to be in the top, because I will tell you, I don't subscribe to, I might be controversial with this, but I don't subscribe to women who are sitting on the top just because they want to fulfill numbers. No.
Mm.
So you can get into the door with that card, but don't remain that card holder. Okay. I want to be able to see why I said I'm not where I want to be. Is because I want to really be able to be able to advocate for women to be on top of things in this industry. I
Hmm.
want to be a barrier breaker, and I want to be someone that maybe when I'm in my wheelchair as an old person, I will be able to count millions of people that built their career because of
Correct.
one thing that I said. Do you understand? So I just feel that for us to be prepared for the future, we need to be in that space, and it takes a lot of work. You need to be able to study, you need
Hmm.
to be able to, research, get knowledge. And, I mean, the difference between intelligence and non-intelligence is the knowledge that the intelligent person has. And
Hmm.
knowledge can be picked. Knowledge can be picked.
Perfect.
There's no dull person.
I think this leads to my next question. But before I want to tell everyone I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. Nobody should take it up on me. I'm for women. So let me ask you, as a, to play the devil's advocate, why?
Yeah.
Why do we need women in cybersecurity? What's the benefit?
Okay.
Devil's advocate or people.
There's a reason why women and men are configured differently, right? I just came back from a conference where one of the people I was I was a chairperson at the conference, one of the senior people who were on the panel, he made a statement. He said, cybersecurity is not romantic. It's not. It's not romantic because it's not making money for the organization. So the
Yeah,
key thing there is for us to be able is important, but it's not making money, except you're a company that is doing tools, but general organization. So the element of the communication is quite key. And I'm not saying that women are better communicators than men. I'm saying there's a way that I would present a topic on risk with the empathy as a mother if I'm telling my son that what he's doing might not be correct, which might be different from what Babs will say. It's as simple as that. And besides, it's not only men who are using technology these days. Women are also using technology these days. So how do you balance the what you are shipping out? You know, I mean, we hear it all the time. Our husbands will say, we're not wired like you. We're not wired like you. You know. So what I'm saying in essence is, I think the balance is needed, especially in cybersecurity, because the topic is hard. Communicating the topic is not easy, and so you need that humane element to it. And then also, if you look at all the women leaders in the world, people like Michelle Obama, people like Okonjiwala, right? You can see that when they're handling their portfolio, there's a pride in, I need to they don't just say, I just want to organize. I need to mother this, not mother as in mother, as in just, I need to,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Take
nurture
care of this,
this,
nurture
take
it. Yes,
care of
yes.
this. I think Babs and I'm better than you guys in that space. I know how to nurture.
Yeah. At
And
least
definitely, I can't contest
I
that one.
I
That one,
agree.
Honestly, I'll give you an example. In my current team, I have more men across board, more men. But when I'm in that space, managing them and all those kind of things, I'm always very empathetic to whatever situation that they are in. And it's
Hmm.
not because I'm their line manager, it's just because it's something that I have built in. I'm not saying
Oh,
every woman is like me, but the key thing is we need a balance of character, a balance of servicing, a balance of offering.
oh,
And that's why we need women, not because
man.
of the numbers, not because we
Hmm.
want to be diversity, whatever, but because of what we're bringing in, you know, what we're bringing in, what we're bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Like I said, I just played the devil's advocate, but you killed the
It's good.
topic.
It's
So,
good.
Let me now ask this question, right? You've touched a particular area that we need women. If someone wants to start, if you look at yourself when you were about to, if you're going to start your career again, like you've gone through different routes, and someone is saying, I'm in secondary school right now, I'm in undergraduate, and I really want to. If you look at yourself and say, yeah, I want to start this career again in cybersecurity, how would you approach it?
I would approach it from the point of view of, I will minimize the fear and increase
Hmm.
the faith. First of all, I would minimize the fear and increase the faith, because most of the things, I said it before, most of the things that pulled me back a bit was the fear. And then also, planning is quite key, because if you don't have a focus, you would move from one place to the other. So what
Hmm.
I would have told myself, like back in the days, when I didn't know, so I was moving from doing one certification or the other, all certification known to man. No, I would take a step back and really research on the role that I want to do, right?
Hmm.
And then put in the building blocks. I'll tell you a trick that I now recommend for people. The kind of job you want to do, go to your job portal, whatever job site that you use, type in the title of the jobs you think you can do. Then you see what exactly is needed for this job. Do they need this? Do they need that? Do they need these skills? Do they need me to be analytical? Do they need to be whatever? Pull those information out and build your plan based on that. And it is also baby steps, right? Don't put yourself in a position where you are overworking yourself, you will burn
Hmm.
out. Yeah. So you put the things in, put it as a goal, and then say, which one can I achieve? Which one can I achieve free of charge? So for instance, yes, yeah, I'm telling you, these are the mistakes I made. I was, I would, this contribution, this contribution that people do. I will do
Yeah.
contribution, collect the money, go and use it to pay for certification, then start doing my catering stuff to be able to pay the contribution. That was how I got my certification. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, you will see all types of certifications. There are some I shouldn't have done, right? There are some that the information I will have gotten it on YouTube. So what I'm saying in essence is get your list, then put the title on YouTube, select good good people. So for instance, now it's not like I'm advertising because we're here. If, for instance, you want to go into cybersecurity and you come across your program that is talking about different levels of cybersecurity, subscribe to it. Let
Hmm.
it be your daily tonic. Once you have finished watching your own episodes, maybe YouTube will now know you are interested in that and recommend some. And then you follow and build your knowledge. Then, if for instance the knowledge is limited there, then you can now start using some of these free training sites. Allow me to say things like Coursera, things like Allison.com, things like Udemy that would give
Need them.
you like cheap stuff. Then, when you are finished exhausting all that, you can now go to like training providers that would provide you with maybe
Certification.
in-depth training, certification, and work experience, like Cycom. But don't just jump into spending money left, right, and center, except you have it. But I
Hmm.
would, if I go back 5 years from now, ah, I will climb faster than I
I like.
I will
I like.
climb faster than that. Yeah, that's what I'm doing with my kids now. I'm doing with my son. I'm doing with my daughter. She's already, yeah, I've enrolled her to start doing a certification in digital media because she knows she can draw. She likes drawing. All my tables are already full with her markers. So I say, okay, sis, let's convert this thing to something meaningful, okay? So I
Exactly.
registered
Look
her.
at it
Yeah,
and put it. That's a
yeah,
good
yes.
one.
This so that you will remove the marker from my table and put it in the
In the right
in the
place.
design.
Fantastic. I really like your approach. No, starting from where do you want to go, what do you want to do, and then start building on it. And some of the things that we started doing like a year ago. Also, so we have a platform that is the AfriYag Box that is completely an hackathon, ethical
Yeah,
hacking platform. We have
yeah.
a learning platform that we're
Mm-hmm.
actually giving out for free at the moment. So
There
you
you
see,
go.
so you don't even need to go too far, and then you can reach out to people like us right here and say, "Yeah, how do I do this?" And then and I know probably will be asking on how to reach out to you much later. I'll leave
Yeah.
Bob to ask some of his questions before we ask
Okay.
For me,
that.
I've exhausted my question. I think everything you've nailed.
I've made Bob speechless.
Yes, yes. I think
Which is a very hard thing to do.
very
You-
hard, very hard.
It is.
Sometimes I was engrossed in your answers because it's moving. it's realistic, it's like touching, and you've told women like remove the fear, step by step, build. I remember I went to Nigeria for one of these IT conferences, and the girls like, "Oh no, oh this cyber, you have to code." I said, "No, you don't have to code. You don't have to code." And that's the fear that comes around. And like Yanni said, we did a ethical hacking competition, a CTF
Yeah.
competition on our AfroHack box, and
Mm-hmm.
the girl was actually the fourth position, but
Yeah.
she did come out to let
Mm-hmm.
us know she was in front. And when we saw her, when she came, we say, but you're a girl. Why didn't you let us know? She beat almost 150 men and came
Mm-hmm.
fourth. But she didn't come out to let us know. We celebrated her. We're like, wow, no, this is exciting for us
Yeah.
because you need to showcase more women doing things, whether technical or
Mm-hmm.
non-technical. They should be
Yeah.
shown that yes, they can step into the shoes if given the opportunity. And like you said, it's not just because they are women. We should
Yeah.
give them, and they should aspire to do better
Step
for
up.
the reason
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
brought them, even if it's just the fact that they were women. I think
Yeah.
that resonated with me perfectly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really don't
Yeah.
have any more questions. I think, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have any more questions.
No, the question is everybody will be asking. So how can we reach Madam Felicia? How can we talk to her?
All those
Well,
madam
well,
stuff.
well, because she mentions so many things that she's into
Yeah.
advocacy, she's into charity, she's in board of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can we really connect with her? So I'll be
So
asking you directly.
my key places. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn a lot, and I write a lot on LinkedIn. And what I write on LinkedIn is spread across my journey. It's also spread across what is going on in the world, especially in the space of cyber and AI. And I also write like encouraging. Sometimes thoughts will just come, and I just need to encourage somebody out there to
Hmm.
not give up, right? And then also, I am currently working on my website where I will be putting in more information around coaching, around mentoring, and stuff like that. So it's going to be Felicia on Omoediale.com. So there are going to be a lot of activities, even some of my conferences and places that I'm going to be in the different areas are going to be on that website. So we'll also be able to see that. Then also I do a lot of going into article writing for magazines. Once that materializes, I would also share it across. But the most important place is on my LinkedIn. I'm not really a social media fan, but I have to now start reaching out to people in that space, because I mean I see how people consume a lot of content there, and I think it's a good place to start putting the right things to encourage people to start making their life, like
Yes.
their life better. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that's it for me. Yeah, but beyond this place, we will still be asking you to come back, because I know
No problem.
a lot of questions will come after this. We'll bring you in a Q&A session where people probably live another live one that people can ask questions. So we've picked out some
As
Absolutely.
long
questions
as
already. We've asked.
you promise me that you will do a pidgin English version, then I will
No
come with my
problem.
worry sense.
That one
No
is
problem.
perfect. And no,
Oh my
please
days.
leave people that are listening. If you want to also bring back Madam Felicia for a special broken English version, please comment.
Yeah, so that we drop the Oxford
Yemi,
hat and get right to business.
Yemi, there's broken English and there's Wario. Just to let
This
you
is
know, it's not the same
all,
uh,
thing. Wario gets
all
another level.
joy. All
Thank
joy.
you.
I don't know
Thank
about
you.
you, Babs, but
Thank
I will not be struggling. I will be speaking the
Exactly.
I
worry
don't know. I
one.
was struggling in the understanding,
In the
but
understanding,
we'll
I'll be
try our
struggling
best.
too, but we'll get it.
So all
Thank
the
you.
Thank you
people
so
following,
much.
subscribe and let us know that you want this special session, and we'll get it done.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you very much.
appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
In fact,
Thank you.
we're excited and
It's
we
an honor.
really appreciate you.
It's an honor. It's really an honor. Thank you so
Oh,
much for having me. Thank you.
thank you. All right.
Thank you. Whoa. Oh. I think that one seals everything. As in, I'm going to watch it over and over and over again. We
I'm
couldn't have
telling
asked
you.
for a better guest for an African women series in cybersecurity. I mean, she nailed everything that all the questions I threw at her. She nailed it in terms of realistic, getting personal
Yep.
touches. I think first, even I forgot to say, we need to hail Mr. Omoediale Samuel. Lisa,
Yep.
full respect.
With full respect.
uh,
I can say
as
that.
in, I don't know about you, but I like the session. I was
No, if
engrossed in
anybody,
every response.
yeah, if any lady is haven't picked up a role in cyber yet after this show, they don't no more excuse because she laid it out completely. All the plans that you need, that journey, including she is laid out to you. So please jump in with your 2 feet and remove the fear. Said fear was the bag, was the problem before, but she removed that. Right now, I think with your 2 feet, you can jump in from this conversation, and hopefully, we'll still have her back.
So to everybody out there still watching and still not subscribed, remember, subscribe. Okay? Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next series of African women in cybersecurity. Thank you. Bye.